All right, so let's start with the Ask Me Anything strategy. If you're someone who uses social media, especially Twitter and Reddit, Discord as well, Ask Me Anything has become this phenomenon in which people who are famous, influencers, etc., have a forum in which they ask people to give them questions that they can then respond to. What is your creative process like? What was the best meal that you had? Essentially, nothing is off limits, and that is both a good thing and a bad thing. But we can utilize that same strategy, ask me anything strategy, inside our discussion block in order to have students as experts answer questions of other students. And so let's take a look at that very first one. So the Ask Me Anything is here. Let's look at that strategy. And essentially, again, you're going to choose some learners or a learner who is going to be your host. Give them the opportunity to write a brief bio about themselves, etc. It could be any topic that happens to be in your classroom. All right. Make sure you set the norms. How people are going to be, the respect level that's necessary in order to have a civil conversation, etc., etc. And then the great thing about discussions is it's archival, right? So I can always go back and look at some of the answers. I can look at some of the resources that were shared, et cetera, et cetera. And so here's just an example here. Again, give the kids an opportunity to have a biography. This is Bob. He's going to be our host today, or our leader. We're going to ask Bob questions about volume or area or impressionist painters or whatever happens to be the deal. And just ask students to be able to, ask questions. It might be a situation where you give them a 15, 20-minute period before where they write down as many questions as they have about those things. But you kind of step back as an instructor, as the designer of the course, and give your workers the opportunity to be the engine of the classroom. Underneath, in terms of those students being able to respond, you've got tons of things that can be utilized. During math, there are formulas and whatnot. You can add tables and whatnot. But we're going to look at three things you might be interested in rocking out with. So first, it's gifts. And I think kids love gifts, or learners love gifts, GIFs, and memes. So giving them the opportunity to share those things or to express their knowledge is important. And Jiffy is probably the place that you want to do that. But kids tend to do that. So in order to add your GIF or your gift to your discussion, it's simply, I'm going to look up Alvin Elementary just because that happens to be the new hotness right now. All right, so I'm going to roll with him. Perhaps I'm confused about a question or something. So I'm going to hit that embed button. And when I hit the embed button, I'm going to make sure it's responsive. Responsive is going to allow it to be viewed optimally, no matter what device this is being viewed on. And then I'm going to copy the code there. Now, one caveat about Jiffy is that there are some things that might be considered inappropriate there. So making sure that your learners come to that space knowing that there's an expectation that we have a certain quality of our discussion that we want to deal with. So as I have a question about area and volume, I have totally forgotten the formula. Can you help me out? Great. And you'll notice down here at the bottom, we have our raw HTML editor. And we also have the cloud. There's also going to be a place where we can add that embed code. We just copy and paste there and submit. Takes us just a little bit. I hit that post reply button, and bada bang, that GIF is there. And then my host can reply to that GIF. So if I want to start here, reply to the immediate question. Another thing that can be very useful is Unsplash. So Unsplash looks like this. All right, totally free place to get images, great for multimedia projects. If I click, so if I click that the upload image icon, I will see that I can search Unsplash without having to leave Canvas, which makes it very, very cool. So I'm just going to type the word math there, and I'll see examples. I'm going to hit submit button, and bada bing, I'm good. So I can add images from my discussion. I don't need to leave it all. All right. And I'm just going to leave the picture there for right now. All right, so that's the first one. That's the second one. Excellent. Wonderful. And the last thing is being able to bring in resources. So say there is a particular resource a student has created in order to help students understand, better a presentation they want to embed, etc. Well, there are the LTI setups where you can bring in some of the Google stuff into your discussion. But I always love this. So if I hit the file and just make it public, publish to web, cool. I'm going to embed. That's fine. I can make it large. I can make it small. Let's make it large. Auto advance. Let's go every minute. That way I'll play kind of like a movie. Hit that publish button. Yep. Now, if you publish it, it is going to be live and in charge. It's going to be public on the web, so that's something to kind of think about as you're doing that. But again, same trick. And submit it. And there it goes there. So really, I love embedding, especially video and stuff inside there. Great. So I've got that deal. I've got a picture inside there, and I've got that presentation, which, again, if students have resources and things that are going to be knocking out, that's there already for them. And so there's tons of different tools you can utilize for that. This is just 3 that are pretty simple to integrate into the situation. And you've got links to all those 3 things on that last deal. So ask me anything. I use it as kind of a sage on the stage. Is our student or group of students are going to handle the questions about a certain topic in our classroom. So that's a great way to utilize your discussions.